Good day, my name is Mia General, and today I will going to discuss about the genetic modifications. So let's start. GM stands for genetically modified. It describes the process by which scientists are able to pinpoint the individual gene, which scientists are able to recognize that they have the different genes. So if the other genes, for example, the cactus, remove gene and the cactus copy it and place it in new organism. So after that, it produced a desired outcome. Genetic modifications is the process of altering the genetic makeup of an organism. This has been done indirectly or thousands of years by controlled or selective breeding of plants and animals. So, dugay na ni siya ginabuhat sa mga scientists. So, modern biotechnology has made it easier and faster to target a specific gene for more precise alterations of the organism through genetic engineering. Genetic modification dates back to ancient times when human influenced genetic by selective breeding organism, according to an article by Gabriel Ringel, a public health scientist at Harvard University. When repeated over several generations, this process leads to dramatic end species. So, ang pinakauna na genetic modifieds were dogs. So, hantod karon ginabuhat gyapon. So with the beginnings of the effort dating back about 30,000 years according to Rangel, wild wolves joined our hunter-gatherer ancestor in East Asia where the canines were domestically inbred to have increased docility. Over thousands of years, people bred dogs with different desired personality and physical traits, eventually leading to the wild variety of dogs we see today. So as now we can see that different breeds of dogs. For example, like Golden Retriever. This breed was created by Sir Dudley Marjoribanks at his Scottish States Queenston in the late 19th century. He crossbred flat-coated retrievers with tweed water spaniels. A GMO is a genetically modified organism. GE stands for genetically engineered. An organism is considered genetically engineered if it was modified using techniques that permit the direct transfer of removal of genes in that organism. Such techniques are also called recombinant DNA or rDNA techniques. Scientists originally never used the term genetically modified organism or GMOs to describe genetic engineering. This term seems to have come from popular media. The term has become so common that even scientists often use the term now. For many, the term genetically modified organisms are synonyms with genetically engineered organisms. Most scientists would say that almost all the food that we eat has been genetically modified by man, and that genetic modification includes not only conventional breeding but simple selections man has made over millennia. Picture 1, Tucenti to modern corn, it's 7,000 years. Picture 2, on right, wild carrots versus modern carrots. Orange carrots were developed in 170s. In picture 3, the exact date of domestications of tomato is unknown. By 500 BC, it was already being cultivated in southern Mexico and probably other areas. As you can see in the picture 1 center picture is a wild cabbage or Brassica oleracea. Man selected the other crops pictured from these plants. Top row pictures left to right, cabbage, kale, and broccoli. The bottom is the row pictures left to right, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, and cauliflower. This is one of the example of GMO. Man has been manipulating DNA in plants and animals for millennia. There are four primary methods of genetically modifying crops according to the Ohio State University. First is selective breeding, second is mutagenesis, third is RNA interference, and fourth is transgenics. Selective breeding is that two strains of plants are introduced and bred to produce offspring with specific features. Between 10,000 and 3,000 genes can be affected. This is the oldest method of genetic modification and is typically not included in GMO food category. Mutagenesis plant seeds are purposely exposed to chemicals or radiations in order to mutate the organism. One of the example is the traditional breeding technique. It's a way farmers and crop scientists can improve crops without using GMOs. Mutagenesis involves exposing seeds to radiation or certain chemicals in order to create random mutation. RNA interference is individual undesirable genes in plants are inactive in order to remove any undesired traits. It is a technique that usually adds a new genetic sequence to plants' DNA. But these RNA-altered crops will not be sporting any new genes. Instead, they could be created by shutting down or suppressing certain pre-existing genes in the vegetables and fruits. Transgenic, a gene is taken from one species and implanted in another in order to introduce a desirable traits. So example of GM crops that have transgenic materials include Bacillus thuringiensis Betty corn maize, Betty potato, and soybean resistant to the herbicide glyphosate. Transgenic organisms have also been developed for commercial purposes. Perhaps the most famous examples are food crops like soy and corn that have been genetically modified for pest and herbicide resistance. These crops are widely known as GMO genetically modified organisms. What is GMO? A GE crop traits. This is the GE crop traits. The herbicide tolerance crop can withstand herbicide applications. The insect tolerance plants produce toxin to kill pests. Improved nutrition. Plants produce a substance of nutritive value for exchange to not produce an all through need. Disease resistant. Crop is resistant to certain disease. Stress tolerance. Crop is tolerant of stress, low nutrients levels or excess nutrients. Increased storage. Crop can be stored longer to avoid spoilage losses. Medicinal uses. Crops can produce medicines or vaccines. Industrial uses. Crops can more make efficient industries. Usually, the GMO where they are grown in United States, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. One of the reasons for genetically modifying organism is produce faster growing crops or animals, produce plants that are more resistant to pests or rainbow papaya, produce crops that are drought resistant, produce foods that stay ripe longer. The pros and cons of GMO food. The pros is higher crops yield, reduce needs of herbicides and pesticides, improve food quality, and increase nutritional value. The cons is possible allergies, unpredicted changes to ecosystem, and chance of new disease developing. My name is Mian Cyril, and that's all. Thank you.